Nice. Now we're all in
Nice.
sync, man.
Clapped up.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Ready to rock.
Clapper.
I learned it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about sleep today. Welcome to the Priority Traffic Podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Ben. Our mission is to provide our audience with practical information that can be put to work immediately in order to give yourself the tactical advantage on your everyday decisions.
Like, sleep is a huge issue in the fire service. It's a huge issue with most people. It's kind of like a human thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty deep topic. Let's see where it goes.
I'm down.
Cool.
I like it.
Good. So we're working on changing our schedule at work. 48 96s, right? And I think the common consensus is that 96, that 4-day break, is going to allow us more opportunity to sleep better. And personally for me, it's kind of like if you can't like wrangle your sleep in now, why does more opportunity mean it's going to change? I get both sides of that story. More opportunity to sleep, a couple more nights. Granted, most people will probably take advantage of that. I know I will. I will benefit from it tremendously because I've got 3 extra days to like dial that routine in, and that'll show up on the opposite side of, preparation for sleep. But I just don't know how adding more time off is going to help people who aren't sleeping well already.
Well, I think not necessarily it's a time off aspect of it, but being on shift for 48 hours, you can find a lull throughout the day where you can go and catch up with naps in 48 hours, right?
Yep.
Especially if you had a bad night before. Is it going to be interrupted? Possibly. You could just have a bad 48 hours. But for the most part, between 2 days, you can roll the dice and say, I can get a couple hours of sleep here and there. And
I think so.
as far as like recovering your circadian rhythm with that, we're the only like mammals that sleep just at night, like just one time a day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're the only ones.
Holy crap.
Yeah, we fell into this circle of we stay up all day long,
Okay.
no naps, and at night we sleep. No other animal on the planet does that.
Huh.
Every other animal takes a nap. Sleeps.
I like naps.
Yeah.
Do you nap?
Oh yeah, I take advantage of naps.
Yeah.
I need to.
How long?
Depends.
On what?
How tired I am, how much time I have, what is going on that day.
Right.
But for the most part, I shoot for 30 minutes. If I go over 30 minutes, it's an hour and a half.
Nice.
If it's an hour, it's terrible.
Sure.
And I feel more drugged down than before I took a nap.
Absolutely.
And so it also depends on what time I'm starting to feel sluggish. If it's closer to like 5 o'clock, I won't take a nap. I'll take a nap at like 1 p.m.
Okay.
I won't take a nap at 3 or 4.
No?
If I do, it kind of messes up my night's sleep.
Yeah, 3's a little bit late.
Yeah.
3. So if you're on shift, I'm taking my tactical readiness preparation
Snoozer.
drill. Yeah. I take that probably around 1 o'clock. At 1 to 3, I'm in the gym by 3 to 3:30.
Yep.
Like the gym. It's just a little weight room, but that's what we, let's go
Yeah.
into the gym.
Tactical
So,
gym.
yeah, and that's part of and I haven't been napping at all past probably 3 or 4 shifts, but staying up, doing stuff and doing homework. But it does help. Napping makes a big difference.
It's a huge difference,
Yeah.
especially it really depends on the department and your call volume. You understand what your night might look like. And like what I gather from your schedule, either you fit it in or you don't really mind with having your things interrupted, like working out. But having a workout at my department, we ran 16,000 calls last year.
I saw just the other day they published them.
Yeah.
Woo!
And so like getting a good workout in, if it's not a quick high intensity workout where you're just running for heart rate, doing an assault bike, throwing some dumbbell snatches in there, just 15,
basic simple stuff.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
If you try to go for a nice hour and a half long, let's get thick boy summer fit,
Right. Yeah.
it's tough because it's going to get interrupted. It
Yeah.
always does.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you can push through an hour-long workout, but for the most part, no. You don't sit around at the station for an hour.
Right.
And so taking advantage of those naps, even if it's just a chair nap,
Sure.
it might be imperfect. You close your eyes, you catch up a little bit.
Right.
Is it the perfect environment? No. But it's something.
You could just sit there, close your eyes, breathe
Yeah.
in through your nose, out through your mouth for like 5 minutes, and that'll make a huge difference. It might not give you 2 or 3 hours of sleep to like offset any debt you've accumulated, but it's one way to do it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about sleep. Like,
Okay.
what is sleep? That's a super challenging question for firefighters to answer.
What is sleep? I think sleep is what you need to help recover for your mind, body, which
Right.
is attached to many things like we've talked about before. If you want to be at your 100%, having a good night's sleep, that will reflect your blood pressure next day, your heart rate, your HRV.
Right.
It's going to help your immune system. It's going to help how active your mind is,
Sure.
or how sluggish your mind is, your self-awareness. What is it? 72 hours without sleep is equated to being like drunk beyond compare, like you unable to drive.
I think it's less,
Is it?
but I don't have that number. But there's a lot of data out there that says that any large amount of sleep deprivation that you are suffering from can definitely negatively impact your cognitive decisions, behaviors, your ability to drive, things like that, where you don't really know how long it's been, but now you're making decisions slower. You got a little brain fog. You're not sure where you're going.
Nodding out.
Right.
Oh,
You're turning on the siren and you're going to a priority 3 call.
yeah. So sleep is everything that will affect your next day. Your mood, how hungry you are, how tired you are, how aware you are, how sharp you are,
Choices, behaviors, all that stuff.
Yeah, how ambitious you are.
Yeah, it's definitely going to have an impact on your day. It's I would say it's an essential element of functioning properly. Like, we need water. You can't be dehydrated. Body starts to do stuff. You need to eat food. Granted, you could go longer without eating food than you can without drinking water. But I would venture to guess that drinking water, staying hydrated, and getting enough sleep are two really, really, really big things. Two really big things for humans.
Yeah.
And people who are voluntarily taking on more stress, like being in the military, being a police officer, being a firefighter, you're willingly chasing and stepping into these stressful environments.
Yeah.
The requisite for you to maintain sleep and hydration and fueling is required beyond most normal people. And I think as firemen, just like I think if you're a firefighter, you need to be fit. You also need to know how important sleep is, and you need to make it a priority. And if you're not making it a priority, it's going to show up.
Yeah.
It's going to be obvious, right?
Yeah. And we talk a lot about like physical fitness on this podcast, and
Yeah.
talk a lot about recovery from
Mhm.
physical fitness. Well, sleep is not only recovery for your body, but also your mind.
Right.
So if you care about recovery for your body and having, like you said, my HRV is real low and I'm in the 30s on in the 30 percentile on
Right.
Whoop,
Sure.
you take it into recovery day. So if your mind didn't get a lot of sleep, your body didn't get a lot of sleep,
Right.
it's your recovery day. Go find yourself a nap.
Absolutely.
Somehow catch back up. Kill that sleep debt.
Right. So you've probably heard us mention a lot about Whoop. So it's a Whoop strap. It goes on your wrist or on like your waist or on your bicep. And what that is it tracks biometrics. It's going to check your skin temperature. It's got some super, super cool technology in there that'll give you a feedback report on your phone and let you know how many hours you slept, your heart rate, your HRV, and then all of those little metrics add up to give you a report that you must look at and take with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
And it allows you to make better decisions throughout the day and choices regarding workout, hydration, naps, when you go to bed. It's just a really, really cool way of tracking body metrics that allow you to make better choices moving forward into performance.
Absolutely. So what it will do is, looking at these measures, it will give you kind of like a clock, a big circle, and somewhere in that clock, it'll tell you if you're in the red, which is non-recovered, yellow, which is you can take a moderate amount of strain this today,
Sure.
or in the green, where it's like, hey, today's your day. You want to run a marathon? Send it.
Send it.
Do your thing.
Right. Set a PR.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's supposed to be a strain coach. So anybody that goes and works out, it's one of those things that are awesome to have and that really cool to look at, especially if you're a data person. But it can kind of give you a roundabout day. Yeah, exactly. Give you a roundabout idea of how hard you can go in the gym,
Right.
where you should push yourself, if you should stop and kind of slow down, pump the brakes, and recover.
Sure.
So it is a great little tool to have.
Absolutely.
It's pricier. You got to pay monthly for subscription, but it's worth it. If
Yeah.
you care about data and really big into working out,
Mm-hmm.
it's sweet to have.
Absolutely. So what we'll do is we'll post a link in the show description down below, and you can check out Whoops. Maybe get lined in, get one on, start wearing it, track everything. One of the biggest things I noticed is when I wear it, and I do have a drink of alcohol, let's say a glass or like a whiskey drink, 2 ounces of whiskey, and go to bed. My HRV, which is
Heart rate variability.
heart rate variability, and we can talk all about that. But like I said, we'll post a link. It's the most amazing thing. You start paying attention to it, and you want to do it less and less and less because you
Mhm.
see how negatively it affects you. So
Yeah, for me, when I pay attention to my stats, I'm usually in like the 120s HRV.
sure,
When it starts tanking down to the 70s, 50s,
mm-hmm.
I know I'm coming out with a cold.
Sure,
And like that, in 3 days, I'll be sick. And
absolutely.
it's just, it knew ahead of time.
Yep.
Do I know what heart rate variability did before the whoop? Nope.
No,
Did I track it? Nope. Do I
Right.
know how to track it? Nope.
sure, and
But now I got something that does.
yeah, it's a biometric. There's research out there that shows that it's effective to pay attention to, and then there's some research that shows that it's ineffective to pay attention to. So if you are going to start relying on that kind of stuff, like a Whoop band or whatever else you can use to track, just make sure you do your research and understand that it's not like exact. It's not 100% accurate. It's not always right. You might feel great but have a red score, so maybe you still need to go do something. Listen to your body.
Yeah.
Right?
Active recovery.
Absolutely.
And I will throw out there that we are not sponsored. We're just simply consumers and giving our
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, we like to tell you not what to do, but what we do and how it works for us. So we'll stick with that. So what actually happens when we go to sleep?
Ooh.
That's a big question.
That's a big question.
right.
Does anybody answer that question?
Scientists and doctors and experts, they know that answer. So I personally I can't tell you what exactly happens. They're still studying. We're still learning so much about sleep. I don't think they knew very much about sleep 100 years ago. 50 years, they've learned more. People have been sleeping for a long time.
Yeah.
Without a lot of understanding about the importance of it and what it does for us. But the doctors out there are working their butts off. They're doing research and they're trying to find stuff to tell us how important it is to be, what it does for us, and I think we're starting to figure it out too. We're
Yeah.
catching on.
What happens to me is I lay there. Sometimes I roll around. And as soon as I close my eyes, the next time I open it, it's like 12 hours later.
Yeah, you're unconscious.
6 hours later. Yeah.
For sure.
It's just crazy. Really
I-
time travel. It was my cheat code when I was a kid, like Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to sleep, 6 p.m., wrap it up.
I wanted those
Santa's
presents.
coming. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Hey, man, I think every kid had that.
Did you wake up early? Likely.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Like
yeah.
at 4 a.m.
Ready to rock.
Right.
Yeah.
Mom, Dad, let's
Stomping
go.
down the stairs. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Oh man. So I don't necessarily know what happens while we sleep, but I know that a few things happen because of sleep. Right? We can recover. We can feel better in the morning. I've always heard my whole life, all the training in the world, it's not as important as the recovery side of all of the training. Like
Yeah.
you don't grow in the gym, you grow at home. You
Yeah.
grow asleep. You need sleep.
It's a huge portion of it.
Yeah.
And like you said, it dictates your day. It's
Right.
like, especially your different routines before going to sleep and then waking up.
Right.
So those are two things that we will have to kind of touch on in this
Yeah.
podcast.
We'll definitely examine like sleep routines, waking up, going to sleep, the advantages, what we do, how it works for us, and give you some things to think about and maybe make changes and little edits here and there to your system.
Yeah, things you
Um,
can change.
Yeah.
So-
Absolutely.
Going into sleep. So you're in bed, your eyes are closed, you do fall asleep.
Yep.
You don't remember any of it. There's different stages of being asleep.
There are stages.
You want to talk about those?
So we can briefly touch on those. If you've paid attention to sleep at all, you're probably going to know there's deep sleep, light sleep, REM sleep.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to get into that too much, but there are two stages. There's non-REM and REM, right? So our non-REM sleep is broken into 3 stages. Again, we're not experts. We're just trying to bring a little bit of thought to all of this type of stuff. There's stage
enlightenment.
Yeah, there's stage 1. You could wake up and feel like you didn't sleep. You might be in this stage for 5 to 10 minutes,
Mhm.
perhaps, according to the research. Stage 2 is going to just be the prep for deep sleep. It's going to get your body ready to go. And we're having all these changes: blood pressure, temperature, heart rate, all these things start to change. Breathing, everything. Our brain's doing things. Neurons are connecting, and neurotransmitters are being shuffled around, and drugs are coming out of the brain.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, crazy stuff.
Right. And then stage 3 is kind of the end of the sleep cycle. And if you wake up here, this is when you feel really groggy. Right. So you're in some deep stuff.
Yeah.
And if you wake up in the middle of a stage 3, you're going to feel it, and you're going to be tired. And sometimes you can wake up, you're like, oh, I'm ready to go on this call. Other times you're like, holy shit, I am so tired. Like, shake
Takes
it
a
off.
second, just realize you're on the road.
Yeah, for sure. Stare at your flashlight or something.
Right.
Whatever you need to do.
Don't do that. There's other things you can do.
Right in your eyes.
Do a couple of jumping jacks or something.
Yeah. So light does help, and we'll touch about that in a little bit. But so those are the stages of non-REM sleep. REM sleep, I do know one thing. We need a lot more of it, or we get more of it when we're younger, and we tend to get a lot less of it as we get older, just like everything else.
But now, correct me if I'm wrong, REM sleep, as far as we know, is the pinnacle factor of sleep. Like, it's going to really dictate how well you recovered. Your body's in some kind of whatever that's helping you recover, feel better, and...
I think so. So it stands for rapid eye movement, right?
Mhm.
Our eyes move and dart around, and it's... I think our brain's doing some organizing and cleaning and repairing, and it's sending messages. If that helps, that helps.
Sounds good to me. I paid attention. The longer REM sleep I got, the better I felt the next day.
Okay, so more REM sleep.
Yep, the less sleep I got, the less REM sleep I got. So
okay.
I guess that correlates, but...
Yeah. Moving around, buddy.
Not a doctor.
Yeah.
Not a scientist either.
If you want to know more about sleep stages, this is not the podcast. We can make a recommendation, put it in the show description. We're going to keep moving forward with what we know and trying to have a good time here.
Sounds good.
Right. So what affects your sleep, man? Like, I know that if I stay up too late and I have to wake up early, if I only get like 3 or 4 hours of sleep, I don't feel good. So lack of sleep is huge.
Yeah.
But what else do you think negatively or even positively? Let's just focus on negatives for a minute.
All right.
What negatively impacts your sleep?
So me personally, I'm going to say, like you mentioned, alcohol is a big one.
Ooh.
Even though it can put you to sleep, doesn't mean you sleep well. Your blood pressure gets higher, your heart rate's higher.
Oh, yeah.
You don't recover as well, your HIV tanks.
Mm-hmm.
So your body's processing a lot of nonsense while you're trying to, quote unquote, recover.
Sure.
So alcohol is a no bueno for me.
If you want to sleep good.
If you want to sleep good,
like if that's your priority.
Yeah, if that's your goal for that day, put it aside. A glass of wine, whatever, it will still affect your sleep.
Absolutely. One glass of 2-ounce whiskey negatively impacts my ability to sleep well and recover good.
Yeah.
And if I'm on like a training cycle, or I know I've got some momentum going in the gym, dude, having a couple of whiskeys a night, it's just gonna set you back.
Right. Pros and cons. You gotta weigh it out.
Yep.
Another thing that'll affect me is what time you eat. When I was younger, I'm 26. When I was a little bit younger,
When I was a wee lad.
Yeah, just a wee lad. I always ate real late at night
Okay.
for whatever reason.
Because you're staying up late playing video games.
Yep, doing nonsense. If I now eat later, like I don't know, even 8, 9, 10
Right.
o'clock at night, affects my sleep almost like alcohol does.
Okay.
Like real bad. Then what type of food I eat.
So you've dialed it into foods now.
Yep. If I eat pasta at night, anytime past like 6 o'clock, it's gonna affect my sleep
How does it affect it?
negatively.
Negatively.
Yeah, badly.
Okay.
Talking about the bad stuff. So pasta late at night, not good.
Not good.
So I'm guessing anything that is a lot like carb dense late at night isn't
Sure.
good unless you're preparing for like a marathon. But then you shouldn't be eating late at night anyways.
Sure.
So alcohol, what time I eat food,
What about caffeine?
caffeine, that is a big one.
Yeah. Do you drink coffee?
I do.
How do you like your caffeine? Do you like it in coffee flavored water, or do you like it in some kind of chemical cocktail called a Red Bull or whatever?
That one right
That's
there.
that's
Yeah.
your way, your transport method.
I start the morning off with a nice coffee,
Okay.
then my midday lull right before the workout. 'Cause
Right.
I don't drink pre-workout anymore. I
Neither.
used to. I used to love it. I was like habitual every single
Yeah.
day. I got rid of that and I picked up a Red Bull.
Mhm.
Terrible substitute,
Sure.
but right now it's a habit I'm working on kicking. Everybody's got a vice. That's mine.
Hey, as long as you're focused on your vices and you got them under control and you're trying to get rid of them, I
Yeah.
think that's like you got to have those under control.
Yeah, I look at it and I go, I know it's ridiculous.
It is.
So it's just a matter of time before I go, all right, we're done with it. And I go in stages.
Sure.
I used to be crazy about the Monsters. And I didn't do any energy drinks for a couple of years. And now I'm back on the Red Bull. And
Back on
we'll
the Red Bull.
see how long
wagon.
this goes for.
Sure.
So, yeah, when you drink your caffeine, anything for me after about 3 p.m.,
Yeah.
that's a wrap.
Okay.
Do a cup of coffee. I used to have a cup of coffee towards the end of the night when I'm at work.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, it helps me sleep.
Sure.
I got this thing. It doesn't.
It does not.
Yeah. It feels like
Nice.
it does, but it doesn't.
So I still do, and I have an occasional coffee at night, but typically when I'm home, I'll have a coffee. And I tell myself that it doesn't bother me. I sleep good most nights anyhow, especially when I'm at home. But Huberman has gone on and told us that if you do have that coffee, I think sometime after noon or 3, it will negatively impact you, whether you think it does or not. It's actually having a negative impact. So, really be careful about when you drink your coffee and how much you have, because certain people are dose dependent.
Right. And coffee, like caffeine, like every drug has a half-life. I can't rattle off exactly how long it is, but I want to say it's like 4 hours.
I think it's about 4 hours.
So somebody can look that up and correct us. But so you take this you have a coffee at 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
By 8 o'clock, you still have the caffeine in your body.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's all burnt off. Maybe it's not. But what caffeine will do, which will be kind of part of our wake-up routine that I want to talk about, is you have the drug adenosine, which any paramedic or even some EMTs would probably know that that's something that we push. It's a natural chemical that our body produces when we fall asleep.
Right.
So that helps us stay asleep and kind of like keep us sluggish in our sleep, in our REM sleep. And in the morning, we naturally burn that off. Well, as soon as you take caffeine makes you feel wide awake.
Right.
Because it blocks these adenosine receptors.
Okay.
And so if you wake up,
You're smart.
something I learned.
So when you wake up,
When you wake up and you kill your coffee right as soon as you get out of bed, you're blocking those receptors, and that's what goes to your midday lull, because your body has to take on the adenosine and burn it off.
Right.
Otherwise, you still have this floating throughout your bloodstream because it has nowhere else to go.
right, because the caffeine's jumped on, it's hijacked
Yeah,
all
exactly.
your receptors.
So until you burn it off, it's still floating around.
Sure.
So around noon, 4 hours after you get up, that's when the adenosine goes back, starts getting burnt off.
Nice.
If you have your coffee at 3 o'clock, you're blocking those receptors off that are supposed to help you get ready for bed.
Okay.
It's part of your circadian rhythm. That's when
Right.
your body starts producing it. The waves.
Right, when the lights
right?
start going down, right?
Yep.
Sunrise and stuff. And circadian rhythm's a completely not separate topic, but it's a whole nother topic.
Broad
Yeah,
topic.
it's deep and it's scientific and it's really interesting.
Mhm.
But I digress. Another thing that'll negatively impact your sleep quality is going to be a room that's too hot. Like if you've ever been at the station and it's the middle of the summer and all of your air conditioning is out and you have nothing, not even a fan, like y'all need to figure out a way to get cool or else you ain't going to sleep.
Yeah.
Like I just went full horrible grammar, but sleeping in the heat for me is awful.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yes. So
I can't.
I have a nice bed that will temperature correct whatever my room is. So it will just, whatever my body temperature is, I'll make sure it's optimal. for
Let's
me.
just say
It's pretty nice.
it's just nice.
But at the station,
right.
yes, it needs to be, I try to keep the room around 68, and that's the best to sleep.
I like it colder.
In 68?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got to appease everybody else, too.
Sure. Totally.
Yeah, some people just go there with a sheet to cover themselves up with. Me, my bed's pretty good. I got
I have
nice
a nice bed.
pillows. Yeah.
Yep.
Like I said, sleep's important to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I try to keep it like 68. I sleep pretty good.
Cool.
One thing that will affect you as well, which this is a hot topic because everybody loves a shower.
Right.
Taking a hot shower before bed, your body has to deregulate that temperature when you're getting ready to sleep.
So that's a good thing.
No.
Oh, so maybe we have our first official disagreement on the show.
Okay.
Live.
Yeah.
So as far as I understand it, is you take that hot shower before bed, and your body has to now naturally cool off, and that temperature change is what is going to cascade you into sleeping better.
Huh.
So what were you going to say?
I was going to
'Cause-
say that having the cold shower beforehand, that's supposed to calm you down and get you ready for the bed, which maybe that deregulates back up.
I don't know. Because
It's
your
like a
body's going to
yin and
naturally
yang.
have to heat back up because you've cooled, right?
Mm,
So I don't know. More research to come on that discussion.
Yeah,
We'll have an
I'm
answer for
intrigued.
you
I like it.
somewhere. We'll post it somehow.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have you guys comment and say who's right or
yeah,
who you agree
yeah,
with.
yeah. Let us know who's right. This guy right here. Right. How much sleep do you get?
On average, unfortunately, probably around 6 hours.
6 hours. What does
Yeah.
your whoop say? know.
Today?
No, like for the year.
Oh, 5 hours and 20 minutes.
Okay, so that's probably better.
That's probably average.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try for at least 6 hours.
Nice. That's not very much, dude.
I know. And we talked about this yesterday, how people in our career
Mm-hmm.
kind of understood the limitations of what we have and made new baselines for ourselves. And I feel like I'm normal on 6 hours.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm normal on 5 hours, but I'm probably a lot better at 8.
So you've got a lot of like heavy duty goals and training goals this year.
Yeah.
And I would venture to guess that Ben, 5.5 hours of sleep average, would run a marathon less good, not as well as Ben, 8 hours of sleep on average.
You're probably right. Yeah. And I can relate one time where I was off work for about 2 weeks.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
good furlough,
The unicorn.
Yeah. Beautiful time. Didn't have anything going on. Wasn't on vacation or nothing.
Right.
Just had time off. Didn't really pull any overtime in between, which is very rare.
Sure.
It's just a complete time off. Focused very heavily on the gym.
Prioritize it.
Yep.
There you go.
Was going to CrossFit every single day.
Woo.
And probably normally in like top 5 of the leaderboard ish for the guys.
By top 5, you mean like 2 or 3 normally?
Top 5. We got some good guys there. Real
Yeah,
competitive.
You do.
And so then when I got my 8 hours every single day, I started realizing like I'm climbing this leaderboard. Like and I feel better. Like I don't feel exhausted. I'm
Sure.
like maybe it's just 'cause I'm being real consistent with working out.
Right.
But that type of change doesn't happen in 2 weeks.
No.
So I'm guessing that it's 8 hours.
So what you're saying is if you had the time, you could pay off some sleep debt.
Oh yeah.
So what it sounds like you were suffering from was a lack of sleep, which compared to like the average that you need, if you get less than that, that's going to be your sleep debt, correct?
I think I was being naive to the fact that I thought I was good on 6 hours. And
Yeah.
when I started to focus on getting 8 hours of sleep,
Mm-hmm.
I saw an immediate turnaround in my capacity, my endurance, my strength, everything.
How about your mental clarity?
I'm always pretty clear. I'm the
Okay.
best there is,
Sure.
Yeah.
I get it. I totally get that. So that's pretty cool that you could feel that experience a couple weeks off of this schedule, your fire schedule,
Mm-hmm.
and then notice that, wow, if I really do get to sleep. So how do we start taking that 2 weeks and turn it into like, so I work every third day. So I've got 1 night of sleep at work, going to write that off. If I get any, I'm lucky
Mm-hmm.
and I'm honored. I have 2 nights at home. I have a night where I come home and I wake up and stay home, so home to home. And then I have a night where I go to sleep and I go from home to work.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my 2 nights that I have control of my sleep environment. No alarms, nothing. I need to find a way to optimize that to get me as much sleep as I can both days, knowing that I'm going to have a crappy night the next night, just by benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Probably going to get 3 calls after midnight.
Yeah. Roll the dice.
Right. So let's just say it's going to happen.
Mhm.
That it would take me 3 weeks to get, if I got perfect score on those 2 nights sleep,
To
It would-
recover back.
potentially. Like if you're always adding 2, as long as you're recovering 2 nights, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So it's a super slow movement, but it's doable.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's gonna be a hard one.
Yeah. Maybe 48.96 is the way to go.
Could be.
Yeah. You got to get your sleep game on though, man.
Yeah.
If you can't sleep now, hopefully you invest in some of these tips and tricks we're talking about
Right.
and
And now,
prioritize it.
what you were saying is, if you're focusing just on like recovering from your sleep at night,
Mhm.
I think that's where you're cutting yourself short. Like you're not taking advantage of the naps, like
Sure.
all the other stuff. I really don't want to get into, like yoga nidra, like non-sleep deep rest, like
Dude, there's tactics.
yeah,
For sure.
So there's other things you can do and you can look into to get ahead of the game,
Mhm.
and so you're not just focusing on when I go to bed tonight.
Right.
Because
Yep.
also there's a point of diminishing returns. If you sleep too long,
Right.
you'll have the reverse effect.
Negative impact.
Yeah.
Yep. Because you need to burn it off too. So that's kind of like the balance where you get enough sleep, but you don't work out or you don't spend that energy,
Yeah.
it just goes stale and it starts to make you feel like crap too,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you get a good night's sleep, train every day.
Yeah.
Sleep good every day, sleep good every night. Train, sleep, train, sleep. That's it.
Yeah. I was watching a video. I can't recall who was talking, but the guy just said getting sleep is like you're sitting there and you're filling up your car all night
Mhm.
long. If you got to get up 10 times, you're pulling the handle out, put the handle back in, like not filling up your tank.
Right.
Like,
You're stopping the flow.
yeah, if you only got enough for 50 miles, don't try to go 100 miles the next day.
Yeah.
But if you get a full night's sleep and you got a 300-mile tank, then hey man, get after it.
Right. That gauge is banging off the full side. And it's like,
Right.
I'm ready to rip.
Yeah, and the next day when you're going to get sleep, if you didn't do anything that past day and you already had a full tank, it's going to sit there and start overflowing.
Mhm.
You're creating energy when you're sleeping. You got to burn it off.
Right. You have to spend it.
Yeah.
You have to spend it to get more.
Yeah.
You only have so much.
Giveth and taketh.
Absolutely. So real quick, before we go too far, I wanted to talk about sleep debt, right? Like, so does that accumulate? Like, it sounds like as you get, like, let's say you sleep good at 7 hours, but you only get 5 hours, 3 nights in a row. Would that put you in a sleep debt? Is that what that is?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and that's part of the what I was talking about with the 2 weeks. I got 8 hours one day and I felt amazing. It
Right.
was on like the 4th day.
Okay.
So was I completely caught up from the 7 years of getting bad sleep? No.
I don't think you can ever make that up.
No. But you can make up the short term.
I
And you
would
can
say.
feel really good.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I definitely think it accumulates. I
Okay.
think you really have to get on top of it. And
Sure.
not only that, but if you're used to, some days you get 2 hours sleep and you just run through, and some days you get 4 hours sleep, you run through, and some days you get 8 hours sleep and you run through.
Right.
Your body has to find the equilibrium of like, when do we do this? Like,
Sure.
when do we start sleeping?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it has to kind of deregulate itself into its normal baseline for your sleep.
Right.
Once you kind of get that baseline, it goes, all right, we're getting at least 6 hours every single night. And then we can start producing stuff and
Mhm.
like get it rolling. That's when you
Right.
start feeling good.
Okay.
So there's a sleep debt, and I do think it accumulates, and it might take a couple days to kind of like ease that off and get back in your equilibrium. You know?
Right. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. So one thing that having sleep debt does lead to is sleep deprivation, right? So that's a pretty serious thing. We're not going to get too deep into it, go off the trail too far, but sleep deprivation, it affects about 1,000 people or 100,000 people a year, and it causes about 1,500 deaths a year, right? So, and actually, it causes 100,000 accidents on the road a year.
I believe it.
Right. So there's a few things that lead to sleep deprivation. Obviously, alcohol, not exercising, those things don't help you sleep. But insomnia, restless leg syndrome, sleep apnea, and snoring, those are all what we're going to call sleep disorders. And those contribute to your sleep environment in a negative way, and they lead to sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
Right. So if you think you suffer from any of these things, there's actually 70 of them. So if you think you need to speak to a healthcare provider or a sleep expert, please do. Sleep is super important. We don't want to dwell on this too much. Try and keep it happy and positive. But
Right.
if you need to speak to a healthcare provider, please go do that. Get it taken care of and start sleeping better today.
Yeah. There's no shame in that.
Not
Go
at
get
all.
it checked out, and I mean, you're being proactive on making yourself feel better, being sharper, and kind of like biting the problem in the butt. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Read
Getting
a book
things
on
taken
sleep.
care of is not bad.
No. If it's something you're struggling with, study it. Like if you're interested in something, read a book about it.
Mhm.
If you're unsure about something and you want to learn more, read a book about it.
Yeah.
If you're completely ignorant to something, read a book about it.
Yeah.
Let's just do
If
some
you're-
research.
If you're lazy, watch a video. It's
Right,
out
yeah.
there.
There's plenty of videos. You don't have to read.
Yeah.
If you can't read, it's okay.
Yeah, turn the captions on. Listen,
Ooh,
read.
Yeah. So let's talk about good sleep habits. Like, so from sleep deprivation to what is going to actually impact my sleep the best? What's worked good for you?
Oh man, where do I start? So
What's your favorite one?
I'm gonna go and say my favorite thing is the environment I've built for sleep.
Ooh, that's
And we'll talk about mine, then we'll talk about yours. I
yeah.
know
Let's do that.
it's somewhat similar, somewhat different.
Yep.
So I'm lucky enough to have a tiny house.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, take it with what you would say, but my house is real small.
sure.
Towards the end of the night, I can go and take all my lights. They are these little smart bulbs. They're not expensive. Also not sponsored on the podcast, but it's Wyze, WYZE. Goes right
Wyze.
to your phone. Yeah, it's awesome.
And they're light bulbs. You just
Yep.
screw them in.
Just light bulbs. You screw them in. They're super cheap. They're cost effective.
LED.
LED. You can go and leave the house as soon as you're 500 feet away. They automatically turn off. But when I'm there, I can set them to timers, and I can set them to different colors. So towards the end of the night, I'll bring the lights down to, I don't know, but say 25%. A nice dim. They call it cozy. It is cozy.
Dude.
It's nice.
Cozy is good.
Yep. So I'll probably do that about 6:30 after the sun's gone down. Now that it's winter here in Michigan.
Okay. Yeah. So you
And-
kind of do it with the what's outside.
Yep. And like whatever I'm doing, if I'm cleaning the house, I'm not gonna do it cozy. You know what I mean?
Totally.
I gotta see.
You got to
stuff.
see stuff.
Yeah.
Surgical.
But if I'm sitting there getting ready to read a book,
Yep.
turn on cozy. It's calm. It's relaxing. If I'm cooking dinner, I'm gonna do the same thing.
Perfect.
It's kind of like get your body prepped and ready to get your eyes closed and have a good night. Also, some things you can do is you can also turn to red light. And I've been kind of playing around with that. Listen to a podcast, Huberman. I've read up on red lights right before bed. And it's supposed to, I don't know the magic behind it, but it's supposed to help you sleep and get your body prepared for that sleep.
Okay.
Because there's no ambient light.
Right.
It's just this red
It's
light.
red.
Yeah, so your body takes that in differently, and
Yep.
it helps you sleep better.
Nice.
It looks like you're at a rave, or you might have somebody bust down the door and try to murder you. But it's cool. I mean, it's something to try out.
Absolutely.
Adding on to my sleep environment, I have gotten away from alarms. So alarms
Oh.
on the phone. I have a backup alarm just in case, because I will not be late to work.
So what do you mean? You got away from alarms?
So traditional alarms, you go and you set your phone. Let's say it's like at 4:20 to wake up. It wakes up at 4:20.
Right. It startles.
Wakes you up. Yeah,
It's
it
harsh.
might as well be at work and have the tones go off.
And that's even
Even
we
worse.
we get enough of that at work. You might as well not get that at home.
Exactly. So I've gotten away from alarms, and I've gotten it to, I have a backup alarm on my phone, so one audible alarm. But the alarms I have now are with the Whoop. There's a haptic alarm on there, so I'll set it on there. It'll be the same time as the one I set my bed for.
Okay. So
my
they
bed also has a haptic alarm.
what's haptic?
It's like a haptic feedback on the vibration.
So you can feel it. Like,
Yes.
Like if you press a button on your phone and it goes zzz, like you can feel that. That's
it.
feedback.
Yeah. So
Cool.
it's like a haptic feedback alarm.
Cool.
And so it'd be right on my side. Doesn't wake anybody else up.
Nice.
Slowly wake me up at like 4:05. It'll start vibrating here and there. And
Okay.
at 4:20, I think it feels like an earthquake's going on. But it's
Nice.
not startling. It's not bad. You're not waking up to
It's gentle.
a loud alarm. No.
Nice.
And so that's how I gotten away from alarms.
Mhm.
Do you need to have a bed that does that? No. Do you need to have a Whoop that does that? No. You can also have something like a app on your phone that you set
Okay.
that will slowly start chiming a little bit about 10 minutes earlier,
Okay.
just real quiet. And then it'll like 5 minutes later, it'll chime a little bit higher. But these easing yourself into waking up is going to help you out.
So it's like slowly pulling you out of sleep rather than having it be jarring.
Yeah, it's somebody going like, hey,
Right. A
hey,
nudge.
instead
Just
like,
a nudge.
hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which one do you want to wake up to?
Totally. A nudge.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so by the time you're ready to wake up, you're waking up.
Okay.
I've also set those fancy lights to a timer. So
Oh.
they will also gradually light up the room as I'm getting ready to wake up. And by the time I'm ready to wake up, they're at 80%.
Right.
And if you can sleep in a room with 80% light, then kudos to you.
Dude,
You got a
that's
bad night's sleep.
that's pretty nice.
Yeah. So between those three things, I really built my environment to optimize my sleep and how I wake up.
Okay.
And preparing for bed depends what type of fitness I did that day.
Right.
And a lot of times, if I'm doing a late workout and it's like a endurance workout, I'll try to get in the ice bath.
Okay.
And I've figured that if I have a steam room and 3 short sessions of the ice bath, like 3 minutes each, I will sleep much better that day. I don't know
Nice.
why. If I have menthol inside my steam room, or menthol,
Yeah.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
it will help me sleep better.
Okay.
And it just opens up my system. If I have
Hmm.
the intake breather on my nose that we talked about last episode,
Yes.
I sleep much better. My respirations are down,
Nice.
which makes sense. Breathing is good.
Yeah, breathing through your nose is easy. It's easier on the body. It's humidified air.
Yep.
It goes in the way we're supposed to.
And then taking this iPad, shutting that off, turn the phone off, or at minimum, turn it on night mode.
Okay.
I sleep much better. And
Nice.
I do that about an hour-ish before bed.
About an
I
hour.
probably should push it off a little bit more, but everybody knows it's hard. Like, it's like a lifeline to us, you know?
Uh-huh.
You need to feel like you're connected.
You should definitely push it off more though.
I should. I know. And reading before bed. That's my quiet way of
There you
just
go.
putting myself to sleep.
Nice. So it sounds like you're taking steps. You've intentionally you have your home. You've changed the light bulbs. You have addressed waking up and going to sleep, you have alarm clocks. You've got almost this routine of what happens before you're going to be in bed, and that routine is really, really important. And it takes energy, it takes effort,
Mm-hmm.
it takes some intentionality to build a bedtime routine that actually supports you getting sleep. And if you want to get sleep, that's typically what it's going to take. If you want to get better in the gym, you have to have an intentional plan.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get better or learn anything, you have to take the time to look at the plan and stick to the plan. And just like with sleep, you have to build the environment or affect the things you can control so that they support what you're trying to do.
Absolutely.
So for me, the biggest thing I noticed was dark and cold,
Mm.
right, for me. So my wife and I, we have a completely black room. We don't have any lights on. In our old house, we had a TV in the room. I said, nah, no more TV. I don't even charge my phone in the room,
Mm.
right? She does, and that doesn't bother me at all. But personally, to keep it away from me, I charge it in my office.
Okay.
So dark and cold. With the dogs and her not necessarily liking cold as much as me, it doesn't always get as cold as I like. Some nights we flip the fan on. Some nights the dogs sleep on the floor. I'll take advantage of those.
Yeah.
But ideally, at work, 64 to 66 in my room. I might even crack the window because I have a window,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll get real cold, and I likely turn the fan on. I like to be cuddled up under my blanket with my face showing, and probably just like my muzzle area.
Yeah.
And that's all I would need. It could be ice cold in the room, warm and cozy under the blankets. I'll sleep good.
Yeah.
But the cool, cold air really, really helps in the sound. So I use white noise machines.
That's where I touch on.
So that for me, that gives me a base of noise that makes me and helps me stop thinking.
Yeah.
It's a lull. It's a dull roar, and it works really good to help me get out of my head, close my eyes, and relax. That being said, before all that happens, we turn on the lights just like you guys do. So after dinner, it's about 6:30 or 7. We go to the couch. Lights are dim. I've got most of our lights around the house are soft white, like that warm feel. I've got a handful of Wi-Fi lights that I can dim and control, and then they're all turned down. And we go to the bed after dinner. Probably in bed about 8:45, 9:15.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a light alarm, just similar to you, except my alarm doesn't even make noise. It only turns on with light. It's a hatch,
Mm-hmm.
so it starts to glow 20 minutes early. It'll be real soft, and then it'll rise in, and then it's on. It's like, holy cow, super cool.
Yeah.
And it wakes you up real easy. You'll roll over, and you're like, oh, that light's on. That means I have to get up.
Yeah.
Soon. Like, if it's set for 5, it goes 20 minutes early. And then at 5 o'clock, it'll start to play an audible sound. So you know it's like, this
Yeah.
is 5 o'clock.
Yeah. Here's the timer. Yeah.
But so now I get to lay in bed with the lights dim, start breathing for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Mentally prepare.
Yeah, mentally prepare to get out of bed. And I could probably get up right then and like start attacking the day. But
Sure.
I've got it set to get me up early so I can transition from my sleep state to my awake state comfortably.
Gotcha.
So that 15, 20-minute period is super, super nice.
And so, if you don't mind me asking, what does the hatch cost?
I think it was $129.
Okay.
I got it for a gift from my wife. Probably the coolest gift I ever got.
Awesome.
I love gifts that support things you're trying to do.
Mhm.
Like if you're trying to set a goal, or you're trying to complete something, or you want to sleep better, or you want to like get fit. I like to get people gifts that support that.
Yeah.
And she did that for me, and it was super awesome.
Yeah, that's a super thoughtful gift.
Support my my sleep habits. I mean, come on. What gets better than that?
No, nothing.
So there is also a subscription because it's got an app. Everything's got an app, and if it's got an app, it's got a subscription.
Yeah. 2023, baby.
Yeah, I know. So you take care of that. So far, so good. I've noticed that waking up without an audible alarm and without my Whoop, I've turned that off. Like no
Oh,
alarm.
really?
Yep.
Okay.
So I only wake up with the light, and it's quite. I don't feel as stressed throughout the day. Like I'm not as on edge. But the goal is to get out of bed, and I'm trying really, really hard to implement this. But jump in the shower and do a 1 to 3 minute cold shower.
Oh, mental health.
Ugh, mental challenges.
Yeah.
So we're working on that. I've got a couple other morning routine habits that I'm sticking to right now. Try not to overload myself. Try not to tackle all of these changes at one time. Just try and get them to stick.
Yeah.
before I go to the next one.
I like it.
So I think building your sleep routine is huge.
Yeah, and it sounds like yours is pretty dialed down. So like, I have a lot of different aspects going on in mine, and I'm kind of in a trial phase right now. And I got
Sure.
through everything in there, and I'm seeing like what I can get rid of.
Right.
They
Cut
make
the
it
fat.
as simple as possible.
Yep.
Right. If I don't need red lights, I'm not going to use them.
Sure.
If they help, I'll use them. But
Right.
it sounds like yours is pretty dialed in.
So I've come to the point where now I've decided that I have 3 routines. I have a waking up at home and staying home routine.
Mm-hmm.
I have a waking up at home and going to work routine, and then I have a waking up at work and going home routine.
I like it.
So there's 3 separate things, and I've got 3 goals where I'm trying to wake up first thing in the morning and journal, read, and move.
Okay.
Right, 5 minutes each. Those 3 things are my targets. Before that, I will kind of mimic each night the same way.
Okay.
Like after dinner, it's wind down time. I try and get a book in my hands. I try and turn some lights off. At work, it's hard. There's 3 other people who don't even have the same goals or even have a clue that I'm trying to like run my night program
Right.
through them without them being bothered by it.
Yeah.
Right. So there's the work routine. I try and get in bed at 9 o'clock. Typically, it's between 9 and 10. If they're watching something good, I try and hang out with the guys.
Yeah.
Trying to stay up, be social, but being very aware that I need sleep.
Right.
I probably won't get any. So the longer I stay awake at work, the higher chances of me getting less sleep at work.
Absolutely.
I try to go to bed as early as possible.
Okay.
So ideally, I'll be in bed at 8:30 while I'm at the station.
Wow.
If there ain't nothing to do,
Hey,
if it's all done,
take
right?
advantage of it.
And yeah,
I
you
think
should.
we should see a lot more of that, of
I-
guys prioritizing getting good sleep at the station.
Okay.
And I'm a critic for even saying that because I hate being waken up.
Okay.
And so I usually push it off quite a bit when I'm at work.
Why?
Just I don't like being woken up.
What is that? What do you mean? Like, so you don't go to sleep because you don't like to be woke up?
Mm-hmm.
That seems really. You might want to sit with that for a minute.
I have this weird, yeah, trust me, I know it's a bad thing, but I have this weird
It's just a
sense
thing. It's not a bad thing.
that if I go to bed before midnight, I'm gonna get a call. I'm gonna wake up. I'm like, oh man, still got 7.5 hours left. Let's do this run. You know?
So let's say you go to bed at 8 o'clock. That's super early. I get it.
Yeah.
But let's say you fall asleep at 9 and you still get that call at 12. You just got 2 full sleep cycles.
Yep.
Right? Instead, you stay up till midnight, and now you've literally only got the potential to have 6 hours worth of sleep,
Yeah.
if that.
Right.
And then you take that call at midnight and then another one at 2. Like, you really only slept for 45 minutes.
So I've tried it, and I feel better when it's a conscious decision to say, this is what I'm doing because I know how demoralizing it is to myself
Okay.
to try and get sleep and not get it. Where I just say I'm staying up. Stay up till like 11 o'clock, 10:30. I
Okay.
go to bed at like 10:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait.
It's not smart.
You don't stay up till midnight because that's
No,
what you
no,
just
no,
said.
no, no.
Okay.
But I know I'm going to get a call at midnight. That's like in the back of my
Yeah,
head.
but you're not.
Right.
You're guessing. I mean, odds are you take
Uh-huh.
15 calls in a day. There's a good chance you'll get a call between 11 and 1 o'clock, and it's probably going to be around midnight.
Yeah, pretty good.
Right.
Yeah. That's when everybody goes, oh, man, I should have had this taken care of earlier.
Yeah, I know.
Call
Uh,
911.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Uh,
My stomach's hurt for 2 weeks now. Let's call right now. Yeah.
Oh man. So I would say building your environment for sleep is huge.
Yeah.
Like consciously and intentionally taking steps to get light out of your room. Make sure you have things controlled, right? Don't have your phone on. Don't sit on your phone in bed.
Right.
Don't do anything except have sex and sleep in your bed. And you should be like pretty good there.
Yeah.
A couple other things I noticed is having a clean room. Your environment should be clean and organized. If it's full of clothes and dishes and garbage cans and there's just stuff everywhere, that is not very conducive to sleeping well, let alone living well.
You're right.
But consider organizing things.
Yeah. Make it your bed. Looking at that bed, you're going to get into bed quicker knowing it's made and
Mhm.
it's clean. Sheets are clean. You got
Yeah.
good pillows.
It's
like,
appetizing.
it looks nice. Yeah.
Sure.
Versus saying like, oh man, like dogs have been laying in the same spot all day. Like I gotta lay there. I'll push it off. You know? Yeah.
Totally. My dog loves to jump and get on my pillows. She
Ooh.
loves my pillows, my
No bueno
chocolate
for
lab.
me.
It's no good for me either.
It's like on top of them, like lay their head on it.
So she's got, there's like the 2 real pillows, and then there's that pillow that comes with the bed set.
yeah.
Like, so that's up there. And she'll get on that most of the time.
Oh, cool, yeah.
Most of the time.
Right.
So she likes to get her stinking fanooter up there.
Oh, huh.
And just lay on my stuff. But
Yeah, I'll get
we keep the door
Sarge.
closed.
He'll lay there and like put his head on the pillow. I'm like, oh, look, he's a little human. Like,
There you go. Absolutely. So there's nightly routines, there's wake up routines, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and we'll have a podcast in the future on routines, because routines, they really, really go good with the way your brain works. They allow you to have more bandwidth throughout the day. They take away a sense of worry, and you actually start to build momentum through a routine, which leads to more action. And we just need to be action biased.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's a fact that everybody is a creature of habit. Everybody has their own habits throughout the day,
Sure.
which are essentially their routines. Everybody can create a new routine. There's science behind it that it takes different set amount of times for each individual to
Sure.
create a routine. Some people are up to 18 days and they're on a new
some
habit.
people are in 10.
Some 10. Some people up to like 250.
Yeah.
So we can talk. We have a pretty good podcast about routines.
Habits and routines are definitely important. So what about like when you're at the fire station and there's lights and there's noises and stuff, and you don't have window blinds? Like,
People
what can you
slamming the
do?
doors.
What do you do?
So that's like the pros and cons, right? You're at work, you do get paid to sleep sometimes, but you kind of have to also adapt with living with the people you're with.
Right.
And saying that, it's good to have great communication with the guys you're working with.
Sure.
Good to have self-respect for you and respect for the people you're working with. So
Right.
if somebody does go and lay down, you understand, like, hey, all right, Chris is down. We'll be quiet out here. Turn the
Right.
TV down a little bit. When we walk in the dorm room, we're not gonna slam the door. Turns a bunch of lights on.
Yeah.
And
be
hopefully,
mindful.
you guys can have the talk and say, like, listen, like, this is like our sanctuary. When we go and rest and recover, it's the bedroom.
Yeah.
You know, like, let's keep it at a temperature we can all agree on. When the lights are off, nobody turn them on until the morning.
Sure.
And if you walk in there, be quiet. Don't walk in because you're the head boss or lieutenant and just don't care if you wake anybody up. Like,
Right.
let's be cool about that.
Right.
Like, this is one part of the culture that we can change and say, like, mental health is a big thing in the fire industry, and it's something that we should try to take care of. And that's a part of this podcast is
Yeah.
like creating a better life for yourself, taking care of any little mental health disorders you might have, minuscule or not.
Right.
But sleep is a big part of like your mental game.
Absolutely. Getting it is essential. Like, if you don't get sleep, you're gonna die. I think that's just what the science
Yeah.
says.
And so sitting there and taking care of your own sleep.
Yeah.
Taking care of your crews and watching somebody put a priority on it, respect it.
Yeah, and it's likely going to encourage you to do the same thing. You're likely going to be like, wow, he's taking time to build a sleep environment. He's actually caring. Maybe I should ask him what he's doing, and knowledge transfer that to somebody else. Be like, hey man, here's how I get this sleep. Like, if there's lights on and you cannot control the lights, get a sleep mask.
Right.
If people are too loud, get earplugs. Like,
Yeah.
get a white noise machine, get a sleep mask, and get some earplugs.
Yeah. Get
And-
a humidifier, get like a little
Yeah.
essential oil, whatever that is,
Yeah.
infuser.
Yeah,
diffuser.
diffuser, and take control of the environment that you need to support the goals that you have.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, how often are you sitting there around the TV at night, finish watching a movie, and you might see one person scurry off, and you're like, oh man, he's going to sleep. Like, oh, I probably should go to sleep too.
We're gonna get a call now.
Yeah, right. But it was like, I should probably go to sleep too. And you finish watching a movie, and everybody looks around and goes, well, time to sleep. And everybody just walks in together.
Yeah,
If you had like 2 or 3 people just dwindle away, somebody'd be like, I'm just going to do it.
I'm always
tired.
the first one to dip out early.
Are you?
Always. I
Yeah.
don't mind because I go and I'll lay there. I'll do an audio sleep body scan or whatever, and just be out.
Nice.
Listen to a book or read. I like to read in my bunk.
There you
It's-
go.
It's comfy.
Yeah.
It's cozy.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
like when my dojo at work.
Yeah, it's a piece of home at work.
Yep.
And I think the more you can have that routine consistently across your scenarios, your home to home day, your home to work day, and your work to home day, now you've like locked down a routine that it's not so different 3 days in a row.
Yep.
So getting into that sleep mode at home for your 2 nights is going to be way easier if you've been cycling it through every day rather than having a completely different day at work.
Yep.
Like when you go to work, if it's all just different, that doesn't help.
No.
Consistency is good for the mind, body, and soul.
Yeah.
I mean, on a deeper level, it's probably autonomic nervous system and stuff like that. But again, we don't like to touch too deep into that because that is beyond our scope.
Yeah, that's scientist stuff. We're
Yeah.
firemen.
Firefighters.
Yeah. I will say that going into sleep at work and building these habits,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take a little bit of effort on somebody's behalf.
I would say
like-
more than a little.
Dig into this,
Yeah.
but what you get from it, like once you get skin in the game and you see like how well your life changes
Mhm.
and how much sharper you are, and maybe you enjoy work more because you understand like this is how I truly recover.
Right.
Like I can make this into my nice space. Like I bought new pillows because my pillows are 5 years old, or I got new sheets because they're
Right.
just gross, or I put a diffuser so it smells kind of nice in there. And once you take advantage of these small habits and you change your routine up, what you get back is huge.
Absolutely. Like you're investing. So this routine it's an investment where you've stacked up, let's say 4 or 5 little habits, and they all cascade into the next one, into the next one. You've taken 5 steps to ensure, at least at home, but typically at work, to ensure that you can fall asleep. Granted, we can't control how long we stay asleep. The calls and everything that really ruins it, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But at home, you're really building in the steps to get good sleep, and that pays dividends. Like that will help your training, that will help your focus, that'll help everything. Everything gets better when you get enough sleep. Everything.
So let me ask you this. For you in particular, because it seems as though you've been focusing on this a long time, how long have you been focusing on getting good sleep?
5 years.
5 years.
Yep.
Okay. So I've been
I've been very conscious about my sleep and very intentional with my sleep over the past 5 years.
I'm going to say about 7 months for me. That's when
Okay.
I realized that recovery is more important than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And if I want to hit a better version of myself, not only in the gym, for family, for friends, for work,
Yeah.
that I need to start focusing on recovery.
Yep.
That's something I've completely neglected for the majority of my life.
Sure. And like the recovery game there's a lot of stuff outside of the recovery, like foam rolling, yoga, breathing,
Yep.
ice baths, all these special techniques. They're holistic and they work, but sleep is the universal recovery drug.
Yeah.
You don't have to take anything. You have to just get in a cold, dark room, close your eyes for anywhere from 6, 7, maybe 8 hours. Everybody's different, so you have to find what works for you, and try and repeat that consistently until you die.
Yeah.
Granted, you're gonna have nights where you can't sleep, you don't get to sleep, but if you've got this routine, you know that, bro, my mindset is such that I can attack this. This one night of sleep is not gonna kill me. I'll stay up and I'll run all these calls. I've got a good routine at home. I have tools and concepts to help facilitate getting better rest.
Yeah.
You're unstoppable when you sleep enough.
And you really spend a lot of time sleeping. So I guess what I wanted to say as far as asking how long you've been doing this
Yeah.
is I've been doing it for 7 months. I've decided to make a conscious decision to make a change and think about what I've been doing. It's never too late to like make a change.
Never.
I mean, so 25 and a half years,
Right.
I haven't done anything to worry about sleep. Now, looking back, my whoop told me I slept for 70 days last year.
Right.
Well, I bought a nice car because I spent a lot of time in my car. So why wouldn't I go and spend not even a lot of money, but put a little bit of effort into how I'm going to sleep when it's 70 days out of 365?
Well, you slept more than 70 days. Oh, 70 total days.
Yes,
I got you.
70 total days.
Copy.
If I were to just close my eyes for a whole year
Mhm.
and get that entire sleep, I'd wake up 71 days.
Sure.
70th day.
Right. Right. That, dude, like, it doesn't make sense to me as someone who values performance, values the ability to have a capacity to meet high demands in my life, which I really say the highest demand for me is running into a burning building.
Mhm.
I have the capacity to meet that, and without investing in fitness and diet, all that stuff. But sleep is like, that's like, boom, number one, easy. It's a low hanging fruit. It just needs to be prioritized and valued more. And for the sake of me not having any data, just value your sleep more, and you will start to see changes. Like if you start improving your sleep game, let's just call it your sleep game, that's self-development. And
Yeah.
guess what? So is fitness. And those two things, when you couple them together, they can take you anywhere you want to go.
Yep.
And then everything else starts to get better. You start making better choices. When you're not tired and you're on like a nice fitness program, you're going to hopefully make better eating decisions.
Yep.
And then your finance decisions, and you won't go out and drink, and you'll go to bed early, and you won't get pulled over for a DUI or any of those things that happen based on decisions, choices. You make better choices when you get enough sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's going to help your mental health. It's going to help you with your physical abilities, your
Yeah.
endurance, your mindset. It's like you said, the lowest barrier to entry to enhance your life is sleep.
Yeah, and so you mentioned mindset, and I think I did too. But the mindset towards sleep, we have to remember to check our negative mindset at the door. Like, man, I'm never gonna sleep. I don't ever sleep good. I'm not gonna sleep good. Well, if that's the story you keep telling yourself every single day, even when you continue to sleep bad, it's just gonna continue to happen.
Yeah.
You have to break the cycle. You have to start changing the narrative. You are the author of your book. If you want to get to sleep, study how to sleep. Start implementing the tactics and change your mindset towards your ability to get better at something. Man, I can get better at sleep because I know what I'm doing. I'm listening to people who know what they're doing, and I'm implementing all of these things. And again, if something is going on where you have medications or a sleep disorder that is driving this inability to sleep, go see a specialist. Go see a healthcare provider. Get it taken care of. Get back on track, because when you start sleeping, life gets better.
Yeah. And I'll say, focusing on sleep, yes. Yeah, I started on my routine and my kind of nightly ritual, you
Yeah.
can say, about 7 months ago, and like really focus on recovery, stretching, stuff like that. But just do a quick story. And because like I'm not a real namaste guy, never was into meditation, like slowly getting into it, right?
Sure.
And when I was younger, get my first full-time job,
Mm-hmm.
I was habitually late to everything. Going to
Okay.
school, terrible high school. I graduated 3.0, like didn't really try that hard. Like love sports, but like schoolwork
You weren't super engaged.
wasn't a big deal. Yeah. It wasn't my thing at the time.
Right.
It was hard for me to wake up. Like it just didn't seem like a big, real important part of my life.
Right.
I will throw out there one book that I read. It's like 250 pages. Again, super easy to read. Go through it. It helped change my life, especially being a younger kid, like 17, 18
So
years
how'd you
old.
come onto this book before you tell us the name?
I finally sat there and got tired of my bullshit.
So you found a book.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
a quick decision. And this led on to a whole bunch of other self-help books,
Okay.
which I was never into before, was never into reading before.
Sure.
It's just kind of something that maybe a sign from God, you know? Like
Sure.
one night I had an idea, looked into it, read the reviews, like, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
So I read this book. It's called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. I've probably read it 4 times now. Just
Yeah.
when I need like a little simple reminder. Granted, I'm really good at my sleep now and getting up on time.
Absolutely.
This talks about affirmations,
Yep.
mindset. And as foo-foo as it might sound, going to bed and laying there and understanding, saying like, I will go and I'm going to have a good night's sleep. I have 6.5 hours ahead of me. I'm going to get the best of it. I'm going to wake up refreshed, recharged, ready to take on the day. You understand what your routine is
yeah.
as soon as you get out of bed.
Yep.
I got my coffee set. I got to get up, close the latch, hit the button. It's brewing. My clothes are laid out. I'm going to take my shower, put on my clothes, grab my coffee, enjoy my coffee,
Mhm.
grab my keys. That's set out. I'm on the road.
Yeah, and those are all like little micro actions that one leads to the next, which leads to the next. So it's all a routine,
Mhm.
but it's all you're doing something. There's an objective. They're small.
Yep.
Put both feet on the floor. Turn around. Make the bed.
Yep.
Walk to the bathroom. Open the drawer. Put your toothpaste. Like those are all little actions that creates momentum.
Yeah.
And that gets you moving into the day, and it starts to wake you up. And then you go read. You go journal. You go for a walk. Get the sunlight in the morning.
Right.
Right. Like so now we're talking about setting up the next day's sleep by how we wake up.
Yeah. And
Like, it's all connected.
yeah, and it's like the pre-planned fire. When you got a big building in your area, you go, all right, how are we going to tackle this?
Yeah.
Well, that building for me was sleep.
Sure.
So how am I going to tackle my next morning? I planned out every step of the way. And this book reflects a lot on that, talking
Okay.
about that self-talk, the affirmations,
Yeah.
positive self-talk before bed, saying how your day's going to go, walking through each step and visualizing it. It really does work wonders.
Right. This is
And say what you want, but it worked for me. Like as a one-on-one, my anecdotal advice is read the book.
yeah.
It's
So
nice.
This is high performance stuff we're talking about. Like we're talking about visualization. We're talking about determining a mindset. We're making choices. We're building routines. Like the people that are at the high performing spectrum, like Olympics, high-end tactical athletes,
Yep.
Navy SEALs, those guys have rituals, and those rituals support high performance. And what you're talking about, reading a book, taking advice from a book, implementing it, and seeing it work, that's high performance stuff, man.
Yeah.
So if there's a book you want to learn about, or if something you want to learn about, and read the book, take the advice, implement it, and stick to it.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's working really good for you.
It helped change my life. I mean, I was never late to work, never have been late to work, and I was habitually late to everything.
Sure.
And I kind of sat there and I'm like, is this just me? Am I just going to be a loser that won't be able to keep a
No.
job, you know? But at 17, 18,
Sure.
you never know, man. You sit there and you question everything. You know, I've been on the
Absolutely.
same bullshit my entire life. Why am I
Right.
going to change now?
Exactly.
Until something just clicked. And I have probably recommended that book to 50 people.
Perfect. So
Yeah.
we'll drop that in the show notes.
Absolutely.
What's
yeah.
it called again? And who's
It
it by?
is The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod.
Absolutely. We'll put that in the show notes for everybody. As far as sleep goes, man, like 4 good sleep habits. Go to bed and wake up at the same time as often and as consistently as possible. Try and get within 30 minutes of either side of that all the time. My bedtime is 9 o'clock. My wake up is 5 o'clock. I try to wake up at 5, 5:30. I try to go to bed at 8:30, 9, or 9:30. That's a half hour on either side. Build your sleep environment, right? Make your room. Make that environment be controlled so it supports your goals.
Mm-hmm.
And then exercise every day. As a fireman, you should be fit. There's 2 reasons now to be as fit as you can. A, because it's awesome, and B, it'll help you sleep better.
Yeah. Look good naked, number 3.
Yeah, sure. And then bedtime routines, right? Like what we do leading up to bed, and not so much. And I not to discredit our morning routine. Morning routine really helps go into the day, and then it actually helps set up the next evening. But primarily bedtime routines. Like invest, understand, and develop a routine that supports you getting into bed at the right time with the right mindset, and being ready to dive into 6, 7, 8 hours of heavenly recovery that we all need.
Yeah. No, I like it, man.
Yeah, man. So I think this is a really good place to end the sleep podcast for the day. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us for an hour. We're going to try and bring you guys more foundational information. We're going to have some longer podcasts. We got some videos coming up that are going to be interviews this year. We can't wait to talk to a bunch of cool people about what they're doing in the fire and first responder community, how they're impacting people in their lives, and how they're trying to be an influence and a positive influence on the world. Got a lot of stuff coming for 2023. We are super excited. This is episode 10. Dude, we made it to 10. Thank you guys all so much for being here.
Big number.
Absolutely. I'm Chris.
I'm Ben.
And together we are Priority Traffic Podcast. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Turn on your notifications. If you can, share this with anybody that you think might find value in it. We appreciate everybody for checking us out. We'll see ya.